What is going on? It has been too long since I've made one of these. It's got to have been at least a couple of years. But today's a leg day. It's Monday. I'm pretty sure that's called International Leg Day or something. I know you guys love hitting legs. Heating up my food in the microwave right now. Got some beef and rice, all the good stuff. But it's been a minute since I've made one of these. And I'm just going to let you guys know what's going on with training at the moment. First off, here's Bilbo chilling in the window. But yeah, so hitting legs 3 times a week. It's been about 6 weeks since I've done this. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know about that. And it's been going well for the most part. I've ran into some knee issues and I've pretty much boiled it down to tight calves. So as of lately, my cardio routine has been 30 minutes on the bike first thing in the morning and then 30 minutes of incline treadmill post workout. I do this because I have a sit down job and it's difficult for me to get up during the day and get my steps in. So I like to do the incline treadmill just because it's a little bit more intense and it kind of allows me to get more intense cardio throughout my day instead of just simple steps. Ideally, I'd be able to get 10,000 steps in per day, but we'll work up to that eventually. And then the bike, I am increasing the resistance slowly just so that my heart rate continues to stay in the 120 to 130 beats per minute. But yeah, training's going really well. Lifts are progressing with the 3 days a week with legs. It sounds like a lot, and it is. It's definitely taken an adjustment period for sure. But this is how I've always done training for a muscle group that I'm trying to bring up. Is I will just front load it heavily. If something's not growing, I personally think that you should throw as much volume as you can handle at it. Obviously, don't go crazy. There was a certain level of not going as hard as I could going into the 3 days a week, just because I wanted to make it through a whole week. So I started off relatively light compared to what I was normally doing. And I've also just had issues connecting with my legs. So I took this time to relearn some of the movements and rebuild the mind muscle connection. And it worked out really well for me, actually. So I tracked all my lifts, and I normally don't try to beat the logbook, but for this, I wanted to get a better idea of where my leg strength actually was and where some of the weaknesses were so I could attack them head on. And so the goal was to just progressively overload the movements each week or each workout, really. I pretty much did the same workout every single day, and I'm changing it now. But once I got used to that, I started adding in rest pauses. I was doing rest pauses on every single set, really just trying to find the point where failure was for my legs. And I think that was the big issue. I think with legs, it's really easy to feel like you're training them really hard. But for me, I'm not seeing any growth. So that tells me there's extra in the tank and I need to find where that is. So rest pauses came in clutch. And I think it's been 6 weeks now, and I'm finally hitting that point where I can't match the same performance that I was. So now I was doing about 2 sets per exercise. I've got to turn this microwave off or it's not going to stop beeping. But I was at about 2 sets per exercise and then a rest pause on every single one. Now I'm at the point where the weight's high enough that I can't do that from week to week. So I'll only do a rest pause on the last set. And now I'm going to try just doing 1 or 2 sets per exercise, but breaking up which leg muscle is the focus for the workout. So still trying to see how the knees are feeling today. So it might be a hamstring focus today, hamstring and glutes. Glutes have been a priority for me as I've had lower back issues before. So I want to bring up the glute strength. But that's pretty much the gist of it, my long ramble. I'm going to eat this meal and then probably get some steps in because I'm at home today, and going to let the food do its thing, and then I'll see you guys at the gym. All right, we're going to jump into this leg workout. Before I do that, if you hear any ripping or tearing, I'm recording this in my living room, and my cat is currently chasing an automatic laser. Now that that is out of the way, starting my lift out with adductions. This is a go-to of mine to start out any leg day. It's just a good way to warm up your legs, and you can use these as a warm-up, or you can throw them in at the end. I personally want to bring my adductors up in my legs. I think it adds great inner thickness. So starting these out when I'm fresh just makes sense to me. But we only did 1 or 2 sets there. And then I moved straight into hip thrusts. Getting stronger glutes is a priority for me right now. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the first part of the video that I've had some lower back issues, and strengthening your glutes can be a good substitute for that. Now, in this particular workout, control wasn't exactly the priority. Some level of control, yes, but I mainly just wanted to move weight. Being that this is the first of 3 leg workouts this week, coming in fresh, I want to give it everything I have, if you know what I'm saying. So we did 6 plates on the first set here, and then the next set, we're jumping up to 7. This is an all-time PR for me, and this is really heavy. And I wish that I had some kind of pad I could put under the belt, because this thing digs, man. And they have those yoga mats at the gym, and I've tried putting one of those underneath, and it just changes the whole movement, and it's too hard to get the belt on, and then I'm getting all pissed off and frustrated because I can't get the belt on, and I have this big pad in my way, and then I don't want to do the set. So we're just going to man up, and we're just going to let it dig into my hips and deal with some of that weird bruising. You all know what it is. But set felt good. Got a good pump. Also, starting leg day with glutes, I don't know too many guys who do this ever, but it makes everything else feel fantastic. So if you're not going to start your leg day with a heavy set of glutes, maybe just do some warm-ups and let me know. Then I moved into 1 set of seated ham curls. Almost maxed out the stack on this one. I still wanted to have a decent set of control here, but did about 8 reps. And I'm a big advocate that your first rep should also, or your last rep, should look like your first rep. I don't think every set has to be a grinder where you're pushing out partials at the end to make it an effective set. I'll do heavier hamstring, more volume later this week. Then I moved on to some leg press. I kept my feet close, so we're not going super deep, but deep enough to where I feel a full stretch in my quads. This was about 10 plates per side right here. Really happy with the speed and the fluidity of these reps. Did feel very heavy though. I will say this leg press, the Cybex in particular, it's a lot easier for me to load more weight on it than a traditional 45-degree leg press. Now this set here, 12 plates per side. Depth, maybe a little shallow. I will say I've never loaded this much weight on a leg press before, and it felt very heavy. I'm pretty sure I blacked out after rep 3 until the end of the set. It was a struggle to keep my eyes open for sure, but it felt good, and excited to try to beat this, although there's not a lot of room left on the machine for plates. And then I finished my legs off with these front foot elevated Smith machine split squats. If that isn't a mouthful, I don't know what is. This was my first time trying them like this, where I lift my back foot off of the ground. So you can tell it looks a little bit awkward. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to make the movement comfortable. But I like these. They felt really good. Really good stretch in the quads. And this movement just made me realize I need to stretch my quads a lot more. A lot more. And I found the closer I had my back foot to that block, the more I felt it in my quads. There was a couple reps where I stepped back a little bit too far, and I got the craziest glute pump on this thing. So if you're trying to get some serious glute development, I would be pretty positive that this would do that for you. But finished off with 2 plates. Just did about 6 reps per side. Anything more than that, and I just start to lose my breath. And I'll probably work up to doing more reps per side, but it's kind of fun to do heavy single leg movements like this, and I want to throw those in more often. But we're going to finish up this leg here, and that pretty much wraps up the workout today. And then I will show you guys what I had to eat right after. Here's what we're working with post-workout. I got 300 grams of rice, 160 grams of chicken breast, 75 grams of veggies, the Kirkland stir fry frozen, and then 150 grams of pineapple, and then there's like 60 grams of salsa in there somewhere. Oh, this meal is a staple for me, and I can tell you in the last 5 years that I have been bodybuilding, I really haven't changed my meals very much. The vegetables are a new addition for me. I should have hopped on that sooner. And you really don't have to go crazy with the volume to get benefit from it. And it's easier if you spread them out throughout the day. But if you want to make a bunch of different meals each week, that's totally fine. Do your thing. My wife is competing, and when she's not and when I'm not, we're eating the same food every single day, and we're very like, I don't want to think about it kind of people. So this just makes it easy. Our grocery list never changes. It's the same week after week. Occasionally we'll switch it up and try something a little bit different, but the less decisions you have to make during the day, it's just better, in my opinion, especially as a bodybuilder. I don't want to have to think about prepping meals in a different way, and sometimes I'll switch it up to potatoes for a carb source, very rarely. But I just like to keep it simple, and it really just makes the process enjoyable. And really, if you want a new kind of flavor, seasonings are your best friend. That's a 0-calorie option. You can find low-calorie sauces to put on your food if you want new flavor. And just a little bit of a rant. I think it's really funny when you try to prioritize your health, and somebody will walk by and they'll see this and they'll just be like, wow, that has no flavor to it. And granted, I could have seasoned the chicken a little bit better, but if you eat any other kind of food, most of it's going to be a protein source, chicken or beef, and then there's a carb source. It's going to be a potato, it's going to be rice, or it's going to be a pasta. Thing is, there's a bunch of oils and sauces and that all over it. You can get plenty of flavor with seasonings. So don't think that just because you're eating clean, there's no option for flavor. The only difference is you control how much of those other ingredients are put into your meals. So I'm starving after that workout. My legs are absolutely destroyed, and I'm going to throw this food down probably in about 5 or 10 minutes, but I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for stopping by.